Hello and welcome to Radio Epic. Episode number 22. And first off, my name is acbtheman, and I would like to apologize for episode 21 not coming out. That's my fault. I had a weekend where my family was out of town, and so I just didn't do jack squat. Anyways, so my name is acbtheman. Tonight we have David Allen 353. How are you doing, David?
Pretty good.
That's good to hear. And we have bnelly. Bnelly, what's up?
No, nothing much.
So if you heard us live last week, you heard the just hatred and animosity and everything we said that was negative about Destiny 2. But we actually have some good news coming out, and so we can be positive this week about Destiny 2 and what we're talking about, so we can actually have some positivity and not as much negativity. So, first off, guys, I think we want to start with seasons. We'll go back into Iron Banner and stuff in just a second. But we got a Twitch panel from Bungie sort of telling us about seasons. So, can y'all give sort of your first impressions of the seasons, either what they've said or what you sort of understand about what they are?
My understanding is they're kind of like a quarterly like sandbox update where they'll go and do some rebalancing every quarter, probably change the meta, and on top of that they swap out some of the Eververse cosmetic things and also try to give us like holidays and reasons to come back.
Well, from what I'm seeing too is they're going to start adding stuff where we'll have sort of double XP weekends or double XP events. They're going to be resetting some things where there are going to be some ghost shells and some things from Eververse we won't be able to get again. So some things will be exclusive to seasons, mostly cosmetic from what I'm seeing. Some weapon roles might change, is what I'm seeing. And our clan ranks are going to be reset, but new perks are going to come there. So it's not like we're losing perks and having to regain them. We're going towards new perks. And so that's what we're kind of looking at. And it's a good thing, I think, that'll add to sort of the longevity of it, especially when PC comes in. By the way, PC's coming in tomorrow. Either of you picking it up?
I'm probably going to wait a bit.
Wait, it's not until I get a better PC.
Okay, that sounds just about. But anyways, with PC coming in too, they haven't said when it's coming out, but they said that we're going to get the Dawning events coming back. So they're going to start incorporating a lot of the stuff that was in Destiny 1 that made it fun to play over the long term, in line with the fact that they said we're getting 2 DLCs at least so far this next year. I think we're actually going to start an uptick of liking Destiny again, and I think this is a very good thing that we can do.
Yeah, it's definitely nice that they're coming out with new stuff. A little disappointed that they don't have the Festival of the Lost, just because that was an event that I enjoyed, even though it was pretty much just a cash grab. But it was a fun little event that doesn't seem like it would take that much and gave some cool cosmetic items. But I'm excited to see the Dawning come back, because that's a nice annual event, nominally Christmassy holiday event that's fun to participate in.
Yeah, I wish it was back, but I can understand why they don't want to push it so soon after the PC launch. Hey guys, you just bought it for PC. Now give us even more money. I mean, I know that's what the Eververse is, but PC players would have the wrong kind of idea. And with this thought of trying to keep everything sort of on parity as much as they can, like with events and stuff, I can sort of understand them not doing it. But I do wish it was here.
Yeah, and I think going to the PC thing, what they might be trying to do is, if they're planning on releasing the DLCs at the same time, they don't want to add too much stuff early so that PC players can catch up to the console players by the time the first DLC comes out. But I'd prefer they release things faster, but I can understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, and that did I read right that they would be doing changes to some of the weapon roles, or was that something that was just rumored or hinted at?
I don't think they're going to change the weapon roles. What they are doing is they're adding kind of like we had the cosmetic ornaments. They're going to have things where if you do a certain amount of stuff with the weapon, you can unlock an ornament, which is a nice touch. It's a way of having perks and ornaments that make you actually want to play with a game and try out a different gun rather than just playing the meta all the time.
Yeah, which is something that we've sort of fallen into in Destiny 2 right now, where we've got our set of guns. And we're like, these are the ones that are good. We don't like anything else. Maybe we'll actually play and get to some of those other weapons that are decent. We just don't ever use.
Cough Mida.
Well, speaking of weapons that you might not use, and a lot of people know it's there, I've been playing with the Sweet Business this last week, or last weekend, I guess, because Zer sold it. I'm having a fantastic time with it. And shameless plug, this was the first simple weapon review I did of Destiny 2, but it is just such a fun gun to play with. And so maybe we'll be pushed into some more of that using random weapons like you were talking about. So
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun playing with Warlock Blink and a sword all the time. Because when you get ammo, you can sneak up behind people trying to sit back with Mida, and they're not used to having someone so up close charging them. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, it's not the best way to play because you have to get heavy ammo and you'll lose everything other than the closest battles. But it's a lot of fun to play with when you get a 3 or 4 kill streak. Just jump in a crowd of people and hit them down with your sword.
yeah. Well, was there anything else about seasons? I mean, I know that we could talk on and on and on about seasons, but anything else that really jumps out at you guys?
One thing that it's not directly seasons related, but you mentioned it before. They have this thing that they're calling Clarion Call, where it seems like if you play with a clanmate during the last week or so of a season, you'll get double XP and double bright engrams, and basically just an incentive to directly play together. I know in the panel they mentioned they were very upset that people figured out the fastest way to rank up your faction is to load, I think it was Nessus or Io, go to one particular lost sector, shoot 3 boxes, fast travel back to where you started, go in and kill it and just do it by yourself. And they're trying to get people to play together and do things other than just exploiting the fastest way to get boxes.
Well, speaking of the faction stuff, they are going to make a little bit of changes to factions. I think they said they're going to be adding more weapons next time the faction rally comes out, which is very cool. And then one thing that is really very cool to me is what they are changing to Iron Banner next time it comes around. Did y'all hear anything about that?
No, so enlighten me.
Okay, so they're still going to have the token system. I don't remember if they said there were going to be post-game drops. I don't think so. But they're going back to Destiny 1 where if you have a certain amount of tokens, you can purchase a specific item. So, for example, if I really wanted the auto rifle, but it never dropped for me, they may be selling the auto rifle during the next Iron Banner, and I can purchase it. Now, during the season, they may have certain weapons, so maybe you want to play all the Iron Banners to get all the weapons, purchase all the weapons, and then when the season rolls over, we'll get new armor for it, we'll get new weapons for Iron Banner, and then we'll be able to purchase those. So it's much more like the original. It's much more like the original Destiny where we could buy things. It's not exact, but it's a lot better, and they heard what we said, and so hopefully this will influence how they're doing in the future.
Yeah, I think it's a great system. It encourages people to play, and it prevents people from feeling like they're not getting rewarded for what they're doing. It's a clear goal. I need to get this many tokens, this many legendary shards, although a lot of players will already have as many as legendary shards as they need. But get a fixed number of tokens, fixed number of legendary shards, and you can get the reward that you want, that one reward that you've been chasing, which I think is a much better way of grinding this game.
and that's the way it should be, not kind of just by chance.
Yeah, sorry. I'm hoping they do that more with the other things, where we can maybe purchase things.
Yeah, I would definitely like that because like I've been the last couple of days been playing so much Crucible and whatnot, where I just finally got my last piece of Crucible armor for my Titan, and I've been trying to get it back, or I had like an old low light one that I've been trying to get back since like a couple weeks ago, and so it's kind of been an annoying thing for me as I really wanted like all the Crucible armor, and it took way too long to be able to get that last piece.
Well, it's a step in the right direction, and they're definitely listening to us, which is really, really cool. And very glad I'm enjoying seeing changes they're going towards. Um, and I'm wondering, uh, I don't know, what they're gonna bring out next. Um, like the stuff that we had before, I'm really hoping they bring back some of that stuff. But it's really weird to me that they had sort of things go away, and then they really thought these new way of doing things were better. I don't know.
Well, it could just be a design idea for them that maybe they wanted to. I mean, because like I said, you can always change how the game runs now these days. So maybe it was just a kind of a test. Maybe they thought this would be better. People would like it more. Um, maybe it's hard to say. We don't know what Bungie was thinking when they came up with the system, but maybe it was just they're like, oh, maybe this would be a better way of doing things, and we the community are like, well, maybe it would be if you just give us access to being able to buy stuff instead of always having to just get it from drops, which I think is what most people were concerned about. Was just that, yeah, the tokens are cool, but I kind of want to be able to buy stuff too because, some people's RNG is just terrible. Um, so I think just being able to buy stuff would probably make the change way better. And I don't even think I would care about the token system anymore. Like I really wouldn't hate it if I was just able to like buy things with tokens instead of just like a random Ingram. So, you could maybe have that chance of getting the drop you want, or you can just buy it. Um, so like, or you could just use it as like a facility to get the piece of armor that you want or something. So I don't know, kind of like a dual system, I guess is what I mean.
Which it looks like
But
they're at least doing that for Iron Banner. So hopefully that'll roll over into some of the other systems in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels like there's a kind of a disconnect between like the development team and the live team, where the development team, yeah, they can write great story, they can design a great game, but they're not so great at doing these, I guess, maintenance and trying to make the experience of actually playing it the best. Whereas the live team comes up with all these little ideas that they're relatively minor changes in the game, but they make it a lot more fun to play. Like I feel like the ability to purchase particular items in the Iron Banner is a lot like the change they made with faction packages in Destiny 1, where if you're trying to grind for a specific thing, you could choose armor, weapons, or Spectre or whatever, that chroma gear. It was a very nice choice because it lets you focus on doing your one specific thing that you actually wanted to do. And I don't know. I like the live team. They seem to make the game a lot better when
Well,
they're in control.
and wasn't there was like a mention somewhere that after PC launches, a live team would be sort of taking over. And I know the main development team will still work on expansions and still work on some of that DLC, but I think the live team is going to take back over. And I don't think there's a disconnect between the live team and the development team. The live team just can't do anything until the game is live. So the live team had to wait for the development team to put it out, had to wait for to see how things were, and then they were like, okay, now we can build upon community feedback. Now we can do things like that. So I don't think there was a disconnect. I just think they literally had to wait until they could actually do things in the game. Because if they did things before, then they're part of the development team. It's just uh,
Right, but the point I was trying to make is it seems like the live team is really focused on player feedback and what the players want, whereas the development team is entirely focused on making a great game. And it doesn't seem like the development team really looks at what players like and what changes that the players have enjoyed in the past. They want to design what they think is the best game, regardless.
sorry. What we have to remember though too is this game was in development before even Rise of Iron came out. So I think that's we're seeing some of that um, stuff being rushed out. I saw an article by I want to say it was Forbes, essentially saying that the um, Activision and Bungie deal they made essentially is forcing Bungie to put things out really quickly, and that a lot of that stuff that they did well is sort of reversed upon because they had to rush and get this thing out. I don't know. That's my conspiracy theory.
It could be the case, but even still, like, I mean, there's definitely some things that uh, they should be taking into account, and I think they're getting a little better back at it, you know, trying to go back to things that were done well in Destiny 1. But I kind of agree with David is that there might be a disconnect because there are two separate teams. But that doesn't mean that is the sole problem. There could be other factors involved. But I definitely think there's a dev team that can put out great ideas, but the live team also needs to be able to say, hey, this is what people are wanting. This is what people want to have. So let's work with the dev team and get that content to people, so that way they can, enjoy it and that kind of stuff. So I think it's kind of a both sides of the coin in this case. I think there's maybe a little bit of both that are going on that we just, of course, aren't aware of. So, my personal
Right.
2 cents.
Yeah, one thing that Bungie doesn't do that other developers do is bring in like top players of their game into the development process, because like the people who work at Bungie spend a lot of time playing the game, but they don't necessarily play in the community. And so once you started playing the game, it was pretty obvious the meta that was going to develop, and they could have caught the current meta if they brought in top players who figured out, oh hey, Mida staggers you way too much, so we're going to use Mida and just sit back because it's staggers people way too much. Whereas I don't think they had enough people who are top tier players playing it before launch to really predict that meta.
Well, they never do, but just that's one of those things that's odd too. Why bring back high cal rounds when they were such a menace in Destiny 1? I don't know. That's we trying not to complain too much. We're supposed to be loving on Bungie a little bit this week, singing their praises. So, go ahead.
I mean, I'm very happy with the changes that they're making. It just is strange to not know why they didn't make these before, because some of them seem obvious.
Yeah, very much so. Well, so, what have y'all been doing to kind of switch gears? What have y'all been doing this week in Destiny 2? Because what I've been doing is playing Fallout 4. I'm just waiting for a little bit more stuff to come out. What have y'all been doing to kind of keep playing Destiny 2, I guess?
Yeah, so I've been I've finished all my milestones. I finished my finished a Prestige Nightfall, finished my 300 Legend of Acreus quest mission. But it was funny, I was remarking, like, I feel like I accomplished everything there is to do in Destiny for this week, and I played like 6 or 8 hours. And that's just astounding, because it used to be I would play 6 hours on Tuesday night. And now it's 6 hours for the week, and okay, I've done everything. So I played 6 hours of that, and then I watched some football and worked on my computer a bit.
So, one thing I really hope they implement with the first DLC, or maybe the seasons changing. One thing I've heard a lot, and one thing that honestly would keep me coming back, at least until I completed it, is record books. I need a record book, and maybe even if it's just maybe it's just a uh, something that you have. Oh crud! What else things? Emblems for, or just shaders, but something like that when we don't have a lot to do, because then there would be a reason to do the adventures. And I know there's a lot of lore in the adventures if we pay attention to them, but we'd have a reason to do the adventures and say, oh man, I need to do 3 more adventures on the European Dead Zone to get this shader or something. Because I never do the adventures, even though they're cool. I don't know, I just never do them. So that's one thing I've heard that I really, really want back. And hopefully they'll bring them back. And one thing I just realized they didn't talk about bringing back is Sparrow Racing League. They talked about the Dawning, but they didn't say Sparrow Racing was coming back. So I'm a little worried now.
Yeah, that's a little worrisome. I enjoy Sparrow Racing League. I didn't play it too much once the actual league was over, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and be a shame if they don't bring it back. Although one thing I'd be worried about is it seems like the sparrows are drastically different. Like some sparrows are just faster, and they're exotics, which gives the pay to win feeling.
Well, especially because you can only get those exotics from Eververse.
Right.
Oh,
And so
man.
technically, yeah, you could grind them out, but it is a ridiculous amount of grinding to get it. And
Well, just get a whole bunch of bright engrams on that double XP weekend or whatever.
yeah,
And hope you get some. Maybe during SRL, if they bring it back, higher chance for exotic sparrows to drop. I don't know, just an idea.
Or they
yeah,
could just make it so you can't use an exotic sparrow or something.
Or they levelize power level in Crucible anyways, no matter what your light level is or whatever. So why don't they just levelize speed, and it's all about not crashing essentially.
Could do that.
So
And it'd basically just be cosmetic at that point.
right, and it'd be cool to have the exotic because they have some of the effects and things like that. It just you know,
Make it, yeah, I could see that. That would actually be, I'd be okay with that. Flying around in a, like this really nice looking sparrow. I could care less if it was, you know, actually faster or not, if it's supposed to be. The only place I really care if it's faster is like running around on planets trying to, do my activities and whatnot. So
I fast travel so often it doesn't bother me.
that too. Yeah.
Well, guys, by the way, while I was messing with this, I cut the stream down and up and changed the ingest server. And I think, according to Doc, that has sort of fixed it. So next week we're going to try to do some more gameplay if possible. But is there anything else that we need to touch on besides welcoming any PC players who happen to hear this podcast this next week?
no, can't think so.
All right. Well, I do have a couple of plugs to put out there. So, first off, I am acbtheman, and this is a shameless plug, but I am the Fat Guardians on YouTube. I'm starting to put out some more videos, so go watch them. Also, in clan news, we're going to be starting the Sam Sunday PvPs, except we're doing a couple on Saturday. Sunday's nice, but we're going to try to start them on Saturday at least for now. But what we're going to do is we're just going to group up teams of 4. You don't have to be good or anything, but we're looking for captains. And like I said, I don't want the best player. I want somebody who's willing to lead discussion and stuff like that. So if you're interested, hit me up on Slack. But we're going to be starting that up hopefully this next Saturday. Now that I think about it, it actually may not be this next Saturday, maybe a week after that. But we're going to hopefully be starting that up very, very soon so we can all get just a little bit better at Crucible. Any last thoughts about how Bungie is now back in our good graces?
I mean, I think it might be pushing it a little bit. They're neutral. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. They've
Yeah.
got back up to neutral, Carmen.
Yeah.
Trying to dig their way.
Yeah, they've started the path down the path to redemption, but they need to follow through and keep working hard in order to become the good guys again.
Exactly.
Well, the funny thing is even though I've been playing a ton of Fallout 4 this week, I've still jumped on the Destiny like 3 or 4 times. So it's still a good game.
Yeah, it's still a good game. It's just not the hobby that I was looking for. Is the kind of game that I'll jump on for a couple hours and get a couple things done, which is fine. It's fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for Doc and maybe the one other who is watching our stream. And I think that is it for episode number 22, even though it says 21 on the stream. We will have both podcasts coming out either today or tomorrow.